Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Imagine retiring with a valuable, paid off home, but still finding yourself cash strapped and struggling to cover some daily essentials. It's a situation more common than we'd like to think. So let's explore the delicate balance of your home's value compared to your overall net worth, making sure that you can retire with stability and financial flexibility. How much of your net worth should be tied up in your primary residence? This is a question that tends to come up when we talk about financial independence or retirement. Prior to that point, we tend to talk about how much of your income should be going towards housing expenses. Focusing on housing's share of your budget pertains to cash flow management, while considering your primary residence proportion of net worth relates to asset allocation and portfolio diversification. Typically, your housing costs, so your mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, utilities, or you can substitute rent here if you're a renter, should not exceed 25 to 30% of your budget. The hope here is that you can create a long-term sustainable budget that gives you room for other essential expenses. Maybe that's food, transportation, some discretionary spending for fun, and importantly, investing for the long term and building wealth over time. And ultimately, addressing this budgeting question pertains to income. Your income determines what level of housing is affordable to you. Now, over time, the aim for most of us is to build a portfolio that can sustain us when we step away from the workforce. And at that point, we have to look at our portfolio's income potential. And for the typical investor, this comes down to assessing your net worth. Your primary residence is a unique asset, and for most of us, our most valuable one. But it also provides an essential. It gives us a place to live. It gives us shelter. And while it may appreciate over time, it's most often kind of illiquid and not income generating for most people. So we tend to have to create other reliable income streams post-retirement. So that brings us to what percentage of your net worth should your primary residence be? A general guide is for your home to represent 20 to 30% of your net worth at retirement. Limiting your home's value to a minority of your portfolio can create greater financial stability. It gives you access to liquid assets at retirement. It gives you assets that can generate an income when you're in retirement. This is why I so often suggest preparing two net worth statements, one that includes your home and one that excludes it. Because when it comes to making sure you're financially prepared for retirement, it's really important to assess your liquid investments. The typical American situation often differs from practical financial guidelines, because if we look at Americans approaching or at retirement, here are the median figures. Unfortunately, from this data, you can see that for the vast majority of Americans, their home encompasses a very significant portion of their net worth. Based on median figures, roughly 2/3 of the typical household's net worth is tied up in their home itself. The figures do get better as we look at those in, say, the 80th percentile. And we can see that once we get to this range, that we get much closer to the traditional financial recommendations. Consider two retirees, each with a net worth of $1 million. Retiree A has $800,000 in investments and a home valued at $200,000 that is completely paid off. Retiree B has $200,000 in investments and a home that is completely paid off, valued at $800,000. Their net worths are identical, but their potential income in retirement is vastly different. Let's say we have portfolio A with $800,000 in investments and someone who utilizes the 4% rule in retirement, netting themselves an income of $32,000 for the year. That combined with Social Security may be enough to cover all of their expenses. On the other hand, let's consider portfolio B with $200,000 in investments. Again, utilizing the 4% rule, this might net them an income of just $8,000 a year. And that combined with Social Security is a significantly lesser income. So there may be a gap between what their income is and what their expenses are. Now, of course, we have to add the caveat here that so much of this comes down to the personal situation, because if you live in a very valuable paid off home, you do have the option to sell that home and maybe downsize or move to a lesser expensive part of the country. Or heck, maybe you move to a less expensive country altogether. All of these are options. And if you take advantage of them, this could allow you to unlock a lot of that wealth that's built into your home and turn it more into a liquid asset that is more available to you. And net worth itself doesn't tell the whole story because many retirees have sufficient incomes through pensions and Social Security that they don't have a heavy reliance on their investments. So individual circumstances absolutely vary. But with that being said, I do think this is a good general guide because pensions are becoming less and less common. And I think having a well-diversified investment portfolio, an investment portfolio that goes beyond simply your primary residence, goes a long way to having financial stability and having options in your retirement. Roughly 51% of seniors opt to relocate, whether that's to downsize or to move to a lower cost of living area. So for those who choose to go this route, this can absolutely be a great way to turn your home into usable cash. And for the median person who chooses to do this, the net liquid cash added to their portfolio is $100,000. But this also means that half of all retirees stay put right where they are. And with most retirees retiring with very modest investment portfolios, think investment portfolios that are low six figures, maybe $150,000, this can mean that they're retiring into a very financially risky situation. And it's also worth considering that entering into retirement with a mortgage is becoming more and more commonplace. A survey by American Financing found that 44% of Americans aged 60 to 70 retire while still holding a mortgage. Further, 25% of middle-income baby boomers have mortgages with more than 20 years remaining as they enter into retirement. So for many with a home still comes the liability of perhaps what is a significant monthly payment. And that's on top of property taxes and insurance, which in and of themselves can be fairly significant. But in seeing this trend of baby boomers going into retirement carrying a mortgage is kind of pushed by baby boomers having access to mortgages or holding on to mortgages that might be sitting at 2 or 3%. And with the mortgages sitting at such a low interest rate, for many, there's very little incentive to pay it off early. Entering into retirement with a mortgage or without a mortgage isn't inherently a good or a bad thing. It depends on your situation. I'd be the kind of person who would be inclined to say, go into retirement completely debt-free because I'm more risk averse. But whether or not you choose to carry a mortgage depends on your situation. But I do think we can say that if you go into retirement with very little in cash reserves or very little in investments, and it makes it so you're financially uncertain, maybe you don't have the ability to have the income you need to sustain your lifestyle in retirement, that's a bad thing. So I really like the aim that by retirement, your home value itself would only encompass about 20 to 30% of your overall net worth. I believe that going into retirement with a robust nest egg, one that allows you to have a very solid, reliable income stream, goes a long way to having a very comfortable retirement. And I think that in order to hit this benchmark, it comes back to the question of how much of my budget should my house be? Ensuring that during your working years that your housing costs remain within 25 to 30% of your budget means that you'll have room to invest for your future. So while these are separate rules, I do feel like they go hand in hand in allowing you to build a successful financial life. If you buy a home that exceeds your budget at a younger age, that can impede your ability to save and invest for your future. That can impede your ability to eventually retire with a portfolio that can sustain you long term. Ultimately, our homes provide comfort and security, but we don't want them to comprise too much of our net worth. We want to strike a balance, enjoy our home, but also pursue financial freedom. And this is going to come down to having a well-diversified portfolio. Your home is a portion of that, but it shouldn't be the entire piece of that. So what portion of your net worth is your home? Do you care to share in your comments down below? I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Now beyond, I don't know, modest investment portfolio, think retiring. Shh. Stop the electronics. They're killing me. Did I hit to focus? Yep, I did, and now I messed it up. False starts, so many false starts. 45% battery, we're doing okay. Typically, we're gonna need 45% of the battery to get through this. Typically, it's our most valuable asset, but I don't know what I want to say. Your hormone is your hormone. Dang it.